Hey, we're back. This is John.
Hey, it's Paul.
And it's Ray.
And it's What If Geeks. Ray, you're going to have to lean in a little bit.
Oh, well, just getting lazy.
I know.
That's all. Just lazy.
I'm just going to hand you the mic.
There you go.
All right, so yeah, this is What If Geeks, and today is March 9th. We're recording back at my house again. We're kind of bouncing around lately. I don't know what the fuck we're doing. We're going to do our Geekly Weekly. Eric is out of town or busy or something. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Everyone's bouncing around. Eric's gone now. Paul, you're going to be gone next week.
I'm not, right? I'm gone next week.
Ray is always hit or miss.
Yeah.
So.
And then you're out the week after that.
Yep.
So might not be recording after that.
Yeah, we'll probably just record something separate, maybe tonight or tomorrow. Jesus. Next week, me and Eric will do something, and if Ray's here,
Yeah.
we'll figure something out. If maybe we'll do one character spotlight or something before the 20th, because that's when my father gets in, or the 23rd when we would record. My father will be here, so that'll be funny. Have him come out here. I'm like, what? What am I doing?
Right? What? Talking to this? What? What are we talking about? Comic books. Get out of here.
I had Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He did. He'll tell me that story. Shit, maybe we should record. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, it could be interesting. You guys learn a lot more about me than I want you to know. Shit. All right, so we are here for our Geekly Weekly for March 9th. Let's see what we got. This kind of a quiet week again, but we found a good amount of shit. We're going to start off with some Florida Man. Paul, who's Florida Man?
Florida Man is the world's worst superhero. Essentially, if you can be the dumbest form of life, somehow you seem to funnel your way down to Florida and break some law in the most ridiculous way. You have either gotten high on some sort of drug and jumped in the killer whale pond, or hit your significant other with some type of food item, or you've done something. It usually involves nudity, drugs, some sort of crazy violence.
Stabby objects.
Yeah. So
Do the stabby stab.
they all seem to funnel down here for some reason. I'm not sure why.
They do. It's gravity. It's pulling them toward the Bermuda Triangle.
There it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Love Lines, when it was Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew used to do this bit
I remember that.
where there was Germany. You had to figure out if it was Germany or Florida, because all the craziest shit
I don't
happened
remember.
in one
Okay.
of those two places.
I didn't watch it.
Germany or Florida.
You ever think
Awesome.
it's time to move out of here? What?
Sometimes, yeah, but
Seeing people.
then there's that little part of my brain that's like, wee.
Yeah.
Let's see what other shit's going to happen. All right, who wants to go first?
Right?
Okay.
Those sounds are one through.
Deputies say Florida man held wife's lover at gunpoint, cut off his penis, and took off with it.
Ooh.
Beat that.
He might be.
That's what she said.
Well, you know, we'll just leave that right there.
Yeah, we don't have to go into any descriptive details there. Just leave it right there.
All right, let's see. Deputies, Florida man repeatedly offers to show IHOP patrons his genitals and then runs off with donuts. It doesn't say where he held them, but...
The donuts?
Yeah. But, you know.
I held him with the guy's penis.
They
met up. And,
the detached penis, yeah.
Just stuck him on
That was it's the same guy.
the same
He's
guy.
showing his
Can you
genitals.
put some donuts on
Now
this?
I own this, so it's mine.
No. I just need some donuts on this.
It's getting worse.
That's right.
If you have a story about a man eating genitals eating genitals, eating donuts off of his dick, it's gonna be
Eating
great.
genitals off of his donuts.
Oh,
Same difference.
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't kink shame. They're okay.
That's all right.
There we go.
All right. Mine is Florida man arrested for 4th DUI, refuses breathalyzer, but admits to being high as fuck.
So
The headline says high as F-K, but
We all know what that means.
we all know what that means.
do.
A 32-year-old man was arrested for DUI for the 4th time Tuesday, allegedly informing cops he was also stoned. Sheriff deputies in Pinellas County, which is just below Tampa, pulled over this guy because his taillight was too dim to illuminate his license plate. Yeah.
My guy was in Pinellas County too.
Oh, nice.
I'm telling you, that's usually the epicenter.
Yeah.
Right there.
Connors reportedly reeked of booze, lacked coordination, couldn't talk. No, that was me. Failed roadside sobriety tests and declined a breathalyzer analysis, but confessed to being high as fuck before being
That's
read as right.
amazing. Like, you don't need the breathalyzer at that point.
Yeah, pretty
Like,
much.
he admitted it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I have a penis in my hand.
It's covered in donuts.
It's covered in donuts. Arrest me now.
It's not cocaine. It's sugar. Jeez.
Oh, man.
All right, that was Florida Man.
Do it.
If anybody else has any Florida Man stories, drop them on the webpage. We've got a whole little window there that we don't do shit with either, but one of you can start and we'll follow suit. I'll start. I'm gonna have to start posting these things on there. I keep saying that. I keep
Our
forgetting.
Florida Man section.
Yeah. Well, Eric started one, but he threw 3 on there, and then that was it.
Right.
We were trying to encourage other people to get stuff on there, and I don't know.
Yet.
No, not yet. It's coming. It's coming. There's a breakthrough coming. Yeah.
So,
All right. So what's everybody into? Crickets.
All right. Where did I get this book? So, after one of our conversations last week about Star Wars, I was like, one of the things I've never done is I've not read any of the Star Wars books.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got online and I Googled, where should I start? Like, what Star Wars book should I start reading?
Sure.
And the answer that I got, and this may be outrageous, but it said, a bunch of different websites said, if you were sort of just going to jump in now, start with the Thrawn trilogy.
Yep.
Heir to the Empire. And then,
Yep.
so I just started reading Heir to the Empire.
Oh, yeah. Nice. How do you like it so far?
It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, 40 pages in.
You're going to love it.
Yeah.
It's really good. That was the first set I read, but I mean, back when they came out.
Yeah.
Like, I read them back when they came out. So, yeah.
I think this is the 20th anniversary edition, and I'm reading the ebook version, so there's footnotes, and you can hit the little footnote, and then, the author writes a note like, oh, well, here's what I was thinking when I wrote this.
Probably 25th, because I think I was still in high school.
Yeah, that might be right.
I was reading, because I wasn't even in the Navy yet when I was reading those.
wow.
So, yeah. Yeah, wow.
Wow.
Damn it.
That was that age of Splinter of the Mind's Eye had just come out. So
Right.
that was 1978.
Right.
Somewhere
See?
around there. Yeah.
All right, yeah, I've been really just kind of jumping on, and we'll get into some of that later on in one of your notes here, Paul. But I've been on like the CW, checking out the Flash, trying to catch up with like those guys after the Crisis thing that they went through. It's good. I'm enjoying it. It's kind of like basically all, like everything merged into one world kind of thing.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, but there's differences that they don't know, and they're like, "Oh shit, this guy's not even really a bad guy anymore.
Yeah.
He's like a good guy. What the fuck happened?"
I'm so far behind on Arrow that I watched a recap on YouTube of seasons 1 through 8, where they just go through and like,
Bullet point.
Oliver did this, and then the Flash.
And then this happened.
I think I'm in season like 4, but they're starting season. I don't know. I think season 8 is what they're in now, and it's the last one. But I'm like, I'm never going to watch all. I don't think I'm going to watch all these. So what happens? And they're like, well, this happened and this happened, and it turns out to be the missing, long lost brother or whatever.
Yeah, that kind of shit. Yep. Yeah, so I'm watching that, and then I'm watching Walking Dead, and since today is Monday, that means I did not watch it last night because I always like watch Sunday's episode a couple days later because I'm usually kind of like wrapping up from whatever we've been doing on the weekend and getting ready for work, and it comes on at like 9, so I'm trying to like get everything ready, and if I have enough time, I sit down and I try to watch it before I go to bed, but I haven't seen this one's yet. But it's good. They're like knee deep in the Whisper of War, so it's good. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, and it keeps my interest peaked just above, just enough for what's coming as far as like the new show and the movies and whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm looking forward to this shit. So, and that's kind of how Fear the Walking Dead left me when I was watching it before. Kind of like, oh, okay, I'm still intrigued. Still got me. Right. Zombies, man. Yeah. We're going to have our own here pretty soon. So, it's cool. We'll get into that too.
That's right.
Man, that's about it for me, really. Just random movies. whatever, I watched Elimination Chamber, WWE, last night.
Right.
Yeah, or parts of it. I caught parts of it. It was pretty cool. I'm sporadic in the wrestling thing, so I still kind of like check it out.
Yeah, I want my son to watch wrestling, but I want him to start with the stuff I remember.
Yeah.
So slowly getting him into that. I also don't want him to try those moves out on his sister. So
yes,
we have to,
Yeah. All right. How about you guys? How about Ray?
I've been playing a lot of Atari 2600 homebrew. I sound old now, don't I?
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What are you playing? Is it one of the the compilation things or something you made?
No. If you go to a really nice site that I have a link to on my website over at the Arcade Archives.
Shameless plug.
Thank you. A place called Atari Age. It's been around for about 20 years or so, and they promote homebrews. Basically, programmers will take the 2600 to its limits and create games that were never put on there. And I'm doing a series of articles called Homebrew Spotlight. And I had the opportunity to play a game that I loved when I was a teenager. Actually had a cabinet for a long time, and always thought that would be great on the Atari 2600 if they could ever pull it off. And that was a game called Mappy. And sometimes you can go on to their forum, and you can try out demos of the games before you purchase it. Because, the homebrewer will actually put out the demo so that people can try it and put their notes up on the website and say, yeah, this is great, but if you do this or tweak that or whatever, and that's how they get the final product. And this one company, the guy actually started a company called Champ Games, and he's done tons of homebrew edition games for the 2600. He did a version of Galaga for the 2600 that is dynamite. But this Mappy game just blew me away, and I had to do a post on it, so I finished it today. And I've been playing the game for probably a week now, and it is just on par with the arcade game. It's really good. Note for note, has the bonus rounds, has everything, and that's what's really cool about homebrew is they don't want to water down the game. They want to give you the actual game that you saw in the arcade and played. And that's where they really do a great job.
I don't remember this game in the arcade.
Oh, it was one of my favorites growing up. And the cabinet itself was dynamite. There it is right there.
Which one?
It is beautiful. It's got a big marquee on top of it, and it's just colorful. And I had one of those.
Mappy.
Yeah.
Mappy sounds familiar, but...
You're a little mouse, and you jump around from floor to floor on trampolines, and you collect items that the cats have stolen. It's a Namco game, so that'll tell you right away. It's always hyper cute, great music, a lot of fun. And this guy just with a group of his friends, and they have a company called Champ Games, and they came out with this port late last year, and it's amazing.
So he programmed this.
Yes, and that you'll see side by side comparison. I always do that on the site. I'll show you the arcade version, and I'll show you their version. And it's amazing. And it's one of those things, I grew up with the 2600. It was my first system.
Yeah, mine too.
See, and you're always like, man, I love playing that in the arcade. I wish they had that on the Atari, because maybe you didn't get the ColecoVision or whatever.
Right.
And that's where companies like this deliver on that, which I think is really cool. And
I'm going to have to check it out.
From the ground up, I mean, it's not a hack, which is very different. That's like where you take an existing game and change the graphics and sounds to something. Like, for example, most people remember the inferior version of Pac-Man that was on the 2600.
Yeah.
And then there was Ms. Pac-Man, which was much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So a lot of guys would hack that game to make a version of Pac-Man that would play like they remember. That's very different. Whereas a homebrew is ground up. They'll start from the very beginning and build a game that you can look at and say, yep, that's the game I remember. Huh. And I think it's really cool.
I remember when Pac-Man came out as an Atari 2600 cartridge, and I couldn't wait to get it. It was like $40-something back then, which was a ton of money.
Yeah. Yep.
And I remember being super disappointed when I plugged it in, and I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because my friend of mine, his dad worked at, and now this is a northern electronics store that most people will remember if they grew up there, Crazy Eddie.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They remember
Oh, yeah.
His prices are
insane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one of my best friend's dads worked at Crazy Eddie in the city, and not only did I get the cartridge, but he actually got me the satin jacket, which I still have.
Nice.
National Pac-Man Day with Atari's logo on it and everything.
Right, nice.
And I remember plugging it, I feel the same way. But then I said to myself, it's the 2600. When at that time you're thinking, what the hell else could they do?
Right.
Sure.
And then as I learned the story of the game. And the programmer had only 4 months to complete it. He only had 4K of code. Now, even at that point, they were doing what was called switch banking, which meant that they had 2 4K RAMs in there, ROMs, and were able to make a better game. That's why Miss Pac-Man looks as good as it does. So this guy had so many obstacles and a short deadline, and that's why he came up with it.
There was a story about. I subscribed to this newsletter called The Hustle. It's all tech stuff, and there was a story about.
I subscribe to Hustler.
Is that the same thing?
Yeah, close.
It might
close.
be.
I fucked them all up. Look at it.
I was trying to think of something funny, and I was like, I couldn't do it. Anyway, there's a story a couple weeks ago about E.T.,
Yes.
the 2600 game,
yeah.
being the worst video game ever made.
Which is a stretch, in my
And
opinion.
and they buried
Ironically, fucked us as hard as some of the people in Hustler. There you go. That's what you're looking for.
a bunch. They buried a bunch in a landfill because it's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a story that went on for decades that people swear was true, and then eventually they ended up proving it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And similar story is they were trying so hard to capitalize on the success of the movie
right.
that they hustled the game designer. They gave him like very little time, very little budget.
Right.
They're like, just get it out. It sort of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And the thing's terrible.
And that was the designer was Howard Scott Warshaw, who did Yard's Revenge,
Yes.
which was amazing.
I
great
love that game.
And Indiana Jones. Remember the Raiders Lost Ark, which was like ridiculously
Would
hard.
kick my ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
And then he got like 6 weeks. He had to crank that game out, and it's like, this is what you get for 6 weeks.
Right.
It wasn't as bad a game as Pac-Man, though. You look at Pac-Man, you're
Right,
like,
right.
wow, what happened here? But given what these guys had to work with, and they were owned by Warner Communications at the time, they were told by suits who didn't understand gaming, we bought this license, you have this much time, do it or else.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's why a lot of those third parties that like Activision stuff, that's where they came from. These guys were company men for Atari that just got fed up and said, screw this, we're leaving, formed their own companies and created better games than Atari was doing. So,
Side note for something we can throw on YouTube is all 3 or 4 of us, whatever, like hanging out in the game room, or maybe when we put a TV in here or whatever. And I've got the Elgato thing that you hook up to the game system, so I can record the game. Yeah. Finding some of these asshole games that we like would drive us crazy and play them again today.
Yeah.
And it's like just we'd have to be drinking. It's like, motherfucker.
Play
every time I get out of this well.
Yeah.
That was an ET reference.
Yep.
Yeah. Every fucking time I get out of the well, right back in.
Yep.
In fact, somebody
was listening to my
that,
Tourette's kick in.
There was an article on Atari Age. A guy went in and fixed all the little problems that made ET a bad game,
right,
and made it a better game.
Okay.
Not by changing anything dramatic. It was just simple things like I can't fall in the pit by being this close to it. You could actually walk up to it. So little things, which made the game better.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll definitely check out the site.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, definitely something I want to do when we bring in YouTube is start fucking around like that. That'd be fun.
That would be great.
All right. Anything else? Any alibis for what are we into? Nope.
That's all I got.
All right. On to trailers. Trailers. So, let's see. There's a handful of trailers. Not many that were new, but they dropped a couple, like, maybe tweaked a few here and there and dropped something. So we found a handful that we were going to talk about. The first one that I dropped on here is called Connected. It's an animated one by Sony, and it's going to drop way out like September 18th. But the first trailer dropped, and it got, it hit me real quick. I was like, oh, this looks fun. Something I'll watch with Noah, you know. So I checked it out, and I was like, yeah, you guys got to see it because it just dropped like yesterday. So you guys finally watched it, or you will finally watch it today.
Yeah, I just watched it. story of a guy who his daughter is about to leave for college, and he wants to spend the last little bit of time with her. She's a kid, right? So she spends all her time on her phone and her making videos and all that stuff.
And it's Seth Rogen, right? That's his voice, isn't it?
I don't know. I didn't get the cast member list of this.
And
right, I'll keep looking.
And so Dad is like, she makes a video and he wants her to spend. She makes a goodbye video. He wants her to spend less time, with her head on a screen, and he doesn't get that that's how she communicates, and so he ends up sort of breaking her laptop. She says that's why I want to leave. He decides they're going to have one last bonding experience. Instead of flying her to school, they drive, and then in the midst of the drive, apparently there's some sort of robo take over the world. Yeah. And so Ray mentioned that it's what'd you say it was? Goofy movie meets Terminator. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a real Yeah, definitely. It was that feel. Yeah. It's actually Danny McBride. I can't talk tonight. We're having issues.
Yeah,
we're getting old. We can't talk anymore.
Yeah. It's like your coming of age movie, and then you had a Terminator movie with no beginning and a coming of age movie with no end, and you smashed them together.
Yeah. This guy, like, Ray's like, he's like, there's one funny line in there that made Ray laugh. Yeah. A handful of things made me laugh, and I'm hoping they didn't pretty
show
much
us all in
the whole thing. Yeah, that's what they usually do.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it'll be funny enough to watch with Noah. Yeah, so kind of like he'll get a kick out of it. I think he'll
my kids will see it because it's animated.
Yeah,
right. They would like it.
Flashing colors, and shapes.
Yeah, they won't care what it's about.
And funny words like fart and poop. That's all you got to do.
That's right.
Today.
Totally.
So that's how we make this podcast. We're giving out no trade secrets, dude. What the fuck, man? All right. So, all right. 2 out of 3 of us are at least going to watch it with our kids.
Yeah.
All right. Trolls World Tour.
This one I'm excited about.
Yeah, this looks cool.
Yeah.
When they first announced it, I was like, really? When they first announced the first one, I went, really? And then I watched it with Noah, and I was like, that was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. They dropped this trailer, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in. Yeah. It's just, anytime they do a sequel, I'm like, and then this looks like it's going to be like a Despicable Me 2, kind of like where you going to hit it. Yeah. It looks like they're firing on all cylinders, right? At least right now. This is like the 3rd trailer that's dropped.
The
just
jokes
looks
are really good, just like
amazing.
The first movie. And the thing I love about this movie, I loved about the first one, is the texture. You watch this movie and it's like everything's made of felt and cotton balls. And
yes, it looks like troll dolls come to life.
It's amazing what it looks like.
So yeah, Trolls, we're looking forward to it. Yeah. I didn't write down when this one's dropping, but whatever.
It's in April.
Okay, so it's coming up soon.
Yeah.
Another one kind of coming up soon, sometime this year, is a World War II movie called Greyhound with Tom Hanks.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know it's not technically in the geek thing, but we're all guys and we like these war movies. And it's a Navy thing, so I got that background. This looks amazing. He's a ship's captain, or captain of a fleet, actually. Yeah. He's in charge of the whole fleet, and it's his first deployment, and they're getting attacked by Nazi subs, U-boats. So yeah, it looks really good.
Again, you don't get in any sort of ship, plane, spaceship, anything else with Tom Hanks. Period.
No.
Just continues the thing, right?
Just continues your theory.
Whether he's in Castaway, whether he's in Apollo 11, what else? The one where he's
even Forrest Gump, he had Lieutenant Dan hanging out on top of the thing in a storm.
Yeah.
You don't get on any kind of vessel with this guy.
The ship that gets captured and then SEALs rescue him.
Yeah, he's
Captain, what's that?
Oh, I know one.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yes.
I can't remember the
name.
Yeah, Captain Phillips.
Yeah.
Captain Phillips.
He played Sully.
He played Sully.
Yeah, he crashed his plane, conveniently, properly crashed. He landed.
Controlled crash.
He went in for a water landing in the Hudson. Shit. Anytime that guy is...
when does that come out?
That's in May,
forget. That's May. I think you're right.
Assuming, and we'll get to this in a minute, assuming any movies come out when there's now that they say are going to come out.
Oh
They're not all delayed
we're getting into that because
Yeah.
a lot of shit's getting delayed lately
Yeah.
for certain things that are in the news. And
Sorry.
we'll
get to that in a bit.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Another one that we got here, Scoob. The final trailer dropped. This movie is supposed to drop May 15th.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this movie.
Here's another one. Ready? Same thing I did with Trolls. When I first saw Shaggy and Scooby, or first I heard whatever, like an article, I just rolled my eyes. I was like, come on. Over and over, we're going to do this, right? The minute I watched this trailer, I was like, this is one of the funniest fucking things I've seen ever. Yeah. It's amazing.
This looks really good.
And this is a Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. So
that's,
you're gonna see
and you didn't realize
all
that
kinds
before.
of different cartoons that within that animation company in all these pictures together.
Spoiler for this trailer, you got to go out and watch it. So pause us now, go to the website. We'll drop these trailers on the website. And then check it out and then come back. But you get everybody from Falcon Fury. You get
the Blue Falcon.
Blue Falcon,
Dynamite.
Dick Dastardly.
Dick Dastardly, right?
Yeah. So far.
Right.
So
and
far.
That's what you've got so far. That's what they've shown you.
I hope there's a Muttley.
Oh, my God. There's got to be. Yeah.
Well, and this goes back to DC had picked up the Hanna-Barbera license for a couple of years, and they did a comic book universe for a while where they retooled the Flintstones. They did a Scooby-Doo Apocalypse with zombies, which was really good. And they started combining worlds and stuff. And I don't know if that ever finished. So that's kind of where this is going, I think. So that'd be really cool.
Yeah, but it looks really cool.
Right. So,
and to do it animated is smart.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, because they're all cartoons anyway. But
right.
I'm just I'm thinking back to like the Freddie Prinze and Sarah Michelle Gellar. Well, that was enjoyable.
Okay.
They were okay.
Yeah.
It was a unique take on it.
Yeah.
And it was it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, they played it. I mean, like you said, you wished Matthew Lillard did the voice.
Yeah.
Because he is Shaggy.
He's a walking
Holy
Shaggy.
shit. Yeah.
And the sad part is, I remember when they started casting for this, he found out the day they started recording for the movie that he was not in it.
Really?
Which I thought was really sad, because here's a man who's played this character for 20 years and was basically told, no, I'm not in it.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
That was really sad. So.
Yeah, that's really fucked up. And then I know it's coming up soon, so we're all in agreement we're going to see that one.
Absolutely.
All right. One of the last ones. Sorry. Halfway through, I guess. Never mind. Ignore me. Like all of you do anyway. We've got Bloodshot.
Yeah.
And I dropped both trailers in here because when I watched the second one, I'm like, this might be growing on me a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I barely ever picked up one of the comics when I was growing up.
I did not,
I knew he was there because I knew it was Image, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
I knew he was there. He was in the comics, but I was walking by him to go to the X-Men and Superman and everything else, I would kind of here and there, like I'd flip through it, whatever. I had no idea about his story, And then you throw Vin Diesel in the mix, and I'm like, well, But once I watched both trailers, I'm like, at least the story looks cool.
Right.
So he might be able to do something with it. Given the right director.
It's Universal Soldier, which also was a comic
sure.
book,
Yeah.
and I'm like, but it does look cool. I'll give it that. It looks cool.
Well, here, so to that note, yes, it is the same Universal Soldier story.
Yeah.
But if you're in a world of reboots nowadays, right, where we legit, like, they should have just, if they would have followed course with all of everyone else they work with, they would have just remade Universal Soldier. Absolutely. At least here, they're taking a different comic, doing something,
I agree.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool.
I just don't...
Same basic story, but...
I don't see me running to the theater to see this movie.
No.
I see me watching this on some sort of stream.
Yeah, I'll stream it.
A couple months from now.
I agree.
Or when we do, at the end of the year, when we do the first of next year, when we do the regrets, like, what did you regret not seeing? And I'll say Bloodshot.
Bloodshot, yeah.
Like, note it now. Like,
well, like, what if this is like the start of like an Image universe kind of thing? Because I forget there were a couple of the outer comic companies that had like their own little, like, Spawn had his shit, whatever.
Yeah.
And I forget who Bloodshot is a part of, but I think he's like with the Young Bloods and whatever else. And half of them look like DC and Marvel ripoffs anyway.
Well,
yeah.
But,
it was like, I'll watch the Wildcats cinematic universe.
Right. Yeah.
For all that stuff of Grifter and those guys. But like, that was the years of like Jim Lee.
Yeah.
and Rob Liefeld and those guys.
Yeah, when he couldn't draw feet.
And he can't draw feet.
No.
And all he could draw was like giant muscles
And big tits.
and huge tits.
Yeah.
And
Captain America had big tits.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that one?
and guns.
Yep.
And just
Yep.
enormous
Pouches.
guns.
Yep.
Pouches for days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody ever knew what was in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had
and
pouches.
It was the early 90s.
every
It
costume
was-
had 100 pouches on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but no one had feet.
No.
No one had feet.
Tiny feet.
Oh my god. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, again, I'm not wishing for it to do poorly. I hope it does well. I like Vin Diesel mostly. It's not something I'm like excited about.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
But this next
But
one...
something I am excited about, pun intended, I guess. Black Widow just dropped its final trailer today, this morning. This morning, right? And Paul got it on to the Geekly Weekly. Blah, 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 I can't say that. It doesn't flow anymore. It's just, he got it onto he got it onto the GW. There you go. You got the CW, we got the GW.
That's right.
He got onto the GW, and we checked it out. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Now I turned to a friend of mine at work today, and I'm like, "Did you see the Black Widow trailer?" And he was like, "No, because I'm going to see this movie, and I don't need to see another trailer." I said, "Agreed. You need to go watch this trailer." He's like, "Okay."
I might expose myself to coronavirus to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know?
Really?
Hey, we'll get into that too.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I'm going to see this damn movie in the theater. I don't care.
You know what?
Oh, and we'll get into our discussion on the
Hate
coronavirus
mail.
later.
Come on, hate mail. I'm really tired of Marvel Cinematic Universe. I really
Wow.
am. Just,
Oh.
I am.
You ain't got to
I'm
wait
like-
for hate
I'm
mail.
Yeah,
You got it right
right.
here in the
That's
room
right.
with you.
Well, just a little bit. Okay?
And his Black Widow.
I know.
And her sister.
Yeah.
Well, and this is the
And her
first.
mom is hot too.
This is the first trailer that you figure out, like, okay, I have an idea what this movie might be about. Because the first couple, you're like, all right, explosions,
Black Widow.
boom, whatever.
Yeah.
But now you understand that in the training room and bad things happened, and we're going to make sure this doesn't happen anymore to somebody
Right.
else, and that's the MacGuffin of this movie. And
Yeah.
Okay.
And the enemy has taken over
Yeah.
the entire operation, so now they have to shut it down
Yep.
before something really bad happens. I'm into it.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm all into it. I know. Ray wants something different.
Yeah.
Well,
It's all good.
I have something that I know we're probably may not have on here yet. I saw a post today on Facebook about Space Jam 2 that was quite interesting, involving
I knew they were talking about it.
A certain character. The Mask is actually going to be in Space Jam 2.
What?
Yes. And Jim Carrey's reprising his role as the Mask in Space Jam 2.
So, okay, so now... Shut the fuck up, really?
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
No,
They
I didn't see that
had
announcement.
They had a Instagram photo with someone. Now it's probably not Jim Carrey, but someone in the mask regalia, if you will, doing the smile, and it said something along the lines of "Guess who's back? He's smoking." And he is going to play in Space Jam 2. They think he's going to be the referee.
Oh my
Which
god.
ought to
that'd
be
funny.
very interesting.
And Space Jam 2 is LeBron.
Yeah.
Who
Bugs
are
Bunny?
who are the monsters? Who are the rest of the Monstars?
Oh, I don't even
I don't
remember.
know.
That was over 20 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
it was
who from this
The
NBA?
newer ones, yeah. I
Yeah,
forget.
like
Yeah.
who would, is it like Joel Embiid and
Yeah,
Sure.
it'll
Ben
be-
Simmons and
yeah, it'll
those
be-
guys? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I don't watch basketball.
But it was just interesting to see that they were going to, because they've been talking about this for like a couple of years now, trying
Yeah.
to bring back the mask.
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey's still young enough that he could pull this off.
Well, after
And Sonic,
Robotnik and Sonic, yeah.
which by the way I finally saw,
Yeah, what'd you think?
I loved it.
really?
I
One of the best
loved
video
it.
game movies,
The
if
best,
not the best. Yeah.
video game movie ever made. Period. It
Yeah.
had a solid storyline. It was a buddy picture. Sonic was funny. Sonic was lovable, and the story wasn't what they showed in the commercial.
No.
You really don't get the whole, like, they kind of threw that all together, and then you watch the movie and go, oh, wow. I didn't
Well, yeah.
realize
Well,
that
they spent
happened.
the rest of their time trying to fix Sonic.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
They didn't have time
After
for
the
trailers.
first one they
yeah.
dropped, they were like,
Yeah. And then just the little teaser they put at the end there during
Yeah.
the credits. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
we're not going to talk about that.
Yikes. I was like, this is... And I hope they keep on going. But knowing that
So-
he pulled that off...
There's now a Sonic cinematic universe.
There's going...
Yes.
Absolutely. Which will
Because
be
you haven't
great.
seen it yet, right?
I have not.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
you
yeah.
have to watch it.
I thought you were
It is
taking the...
such a good
God,
movie.
Paul.
Didn't happen.
Oh, I was
Yes, it's-
absolutely... It blew away my expectations.
No,
Because
it's
I
I
really
would
didn't...
I would have to agree with him as far as the best video game movie.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, Detective Pikachu was up there, but as
And
far as
Tomb
like,
Raider, I mean, like
well, yeah,
But Sonic is funny.
Tomb
Sonic
Raider
is-
was. There were two reasons you were watching Tomb Raider, and they were
Yeah,
both
but-
attached to the front of Angelina Jolie.
right.
All right, or unless the newer one. I mean, she's
Yeah.
hot too.
I haven't
so.
watched that one.
That's now you're just doing the dirty old man thing because she's like 20, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. I mean, that's cool. I do it all the time. I
why
do it
we-
at least 6 times every podcast.
That's why we're doing. It's why we're watching Black Widow.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. I just did it. Yeah. But like Mortal Kombat, the first one, like, okay, that was cool. They're remaking that, and they're talking about that one, and it's going to be good if they do what they're saying they're going to do. You know, like how it's going to be, like it's going to be an R
Yeah,
rating,
absolutely.
and yeah, they're going for it.
Right.
So, looks like it's going to be cool. They've got some actors' names already dropped and everything, so we can maybe do a character spotlight on that when we get closer to it. It looks good. That one was good. The second one sucked. There are a handful that like come close. Like a lot of people like Resident Evil, right? I like the Resident Evil movies, but not when you compare them to the game.
No.
They're not.
If they
They don't
named something
represent the game.
different,
Yeah, they don't
would
represent the
be-
game.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree.
Outside of the there are zombies.
And there's too many movies. Like after
It
a while,
becomes
it's just like,
something,
Oh
like,
man,
yeah.
what one are we on now?
You throw a random monster from one of the games into one of the movies, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, I know that guy."
But you watch the first movie. The first movie is actually really good. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed the first.
Yeah.
movie. And then the second was third one was pretty good. It was when
They
were
kinda
in
go up and down,
Vegas
yeah.
all that, and then after that, it's like I don't even remember. It was a fever dream.
But
after
yeah,
that.
well, yeah, and again, you're right. But and again, I just I do the dirty old man thing where I'll watch Milo Jovovich and Ellie Lauder and whoever the girl was that played Jill Valentine. Holy shit!
yeah,
But yeah, I'll watch them all day long. But I mean, yeah, as far as comparing it to the game,
no, not at all.
no, you
Not at all.
you could have so much fun doing more of a closer to a Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Esque thing in the mansion,
Yeah,
horror movie with zombies and whatever. And
Right.
of course, these other monsters that are there, the dogs and the lickers and whatever, you can do all that in that setting,
right.
but it's essentially a zombie
Right.
movie within a mansion. That would have been amazing. Start
Yeah.
there and then blow it out to the city. And then, but, I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see. Hopefully they'll remake some of that shit too later.
yeah, we'll see.
Another 5
But,
years. Give it 5 more years.
But yeah, Sonic really
Sonic was really good.
amazing.
Yeah. So speaking of video games, well, maybe not video games because I didn't know them as a video game. What I considered, I wrote it in the notes here too. When I first saw this cartoon, I initially thought it was like a Pokemon ripoff, but only because whoever I was with, my oldest was into Pokemon, and then just other people, other kids that were in the area, like they were all Pokemon, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started watching this Digimon,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And because I wasn't really doing any homework on it, I just it looks like another Pokemon thing, whatever,
yeah.
But then I actually started watching it, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's it's cute. It's got
Yeah.
a story, Well, Bandai and Toei Animation,
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll go with that one. They're actually returning with the Digimon Adventure.
Right.
We got a trailer that we watched, and it's all Japanese subtitles. But apparently, for the 20th anniversary, they dropped a feature film. Right, it was called Digimon Adventures: Last Evolution Kazuna.
All right.
God bless you. And that supposedly wrapped up the original. And I remember seeing part of the trailer there, and it looked like the kids were older or whatever. And there was a whole theme there where, like, if you get older, you can't be around your Digimon because you're gonna kill them or whatever. Something happens. I forget exactly what it was. I saw part of the trailer. I wasn't really paying attention, so it was weird. But then
take care of your animals.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, somebody left the Tagashi out somewhere. Tamagotchi, whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
Remember those things?
Yep.
Oh, God.
I have to water it. I have to feed it.
Yeah.
Take care of my animals.
I have to do it right now. You're in school. Shut up.
Yeah, it'll die.
I got animals in my bowls. And you throw the bowls, and the animals come out.
Yeah. So now there's another one coming out too. They're redoing the series. Jesus. You know, that's kind of how I made my kids. So yeah, so Digimon is actually coming out with another series, and they're doing a strict reboot. They're not gonna like replace anything. They're just gonna like update it for today, and it's gonna be the same original characters and whatever, and they're gonna redo it for like today's generation. So that'd be cool. I mean, like Noah's into all that shit. He's watched Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and blah 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 whatever. So I'm sure if I show him this, he'll watch it. Yeah. And whatever, it's cool. Hey, look, you know, your brother watched it, or that'll happen. Like his brother will come home and be like, "Oh, you know, they remade Digimon here. Look, I used to watch this, whatever."
Yeah,
and Noah will watch it. He'll get a kick out of it.
Right.
So, but you know, because it's animated video game, cartoon, monsters, whatever, it kind of fell in
bright
our
colors
wheelhouse.
and shapes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bright colors and shapes falls right in,
Shapes and animals.
falls right in our wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's the last trailer. So we'll see. You know,
All right.
see what happens there.
Yes.
All right, box office.
Do a little box office.
Yeah, do some box office.
All right. New this week, Onward, the Pixar movie, had a $40 million opening weekend, which is apparently a disappointment for Pixar, but still at the top of the box office.
For the week, yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird time. I know that some stuff's happening in the world at making people not want to go in crowds, but I don't know if that's the reason. I thought the trailers for this were good. I thought the marketing for this was good.
Yeah, like we were supposed to go. We planned on going Sunday, but we kept forgetting. We wanted to go all weekend. But all right, so Saturday we had the yard sale and then a progressive dinner, and then Sunday we were like, okay, we'll go Sunday. We forgot that my daughter was watching one of my son's friends for the day, and she was taking them to one of the fairs around here. So like, oh well, okay, we'll just go. We're still gonna go this week before spring break happens, because once spring break kicks off, Heather's taking Mika and Noah to Tennessee to go visit family. So we'll watch it at some point. I know one of us has already seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to take the kids to see it. We haven't done it yet, but Ray has seen it, and so Ray's going to give us a
non-spoiler
review.
You want to know how spoiler free I am? I'm going to pee.
Okay. Wow. Some announcement. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll tell you what I think is well, it's not even a problem to me. This is not a Pixar movie. I'm going to say it right now.
Okay.
This is more of a DreamWorks movie.
Really?
That's how it feels to me. It's very strange to say this, but it's, I think, more based in reality of what happens to families than anything they've ever done.
Right.
Anything. Because they always fill it up with, extraordinary characters that are outside the wheelhouse, like, living toys and whatever, monsters and everything. And yes, this does take place in a mythical world, but I think that's also what makes it so different. This takes place in a completely, like, there are no humans, no nothing. Yeah. And I think that is very DreamWorks, where, there's no baseline of like, okay, we know the humans were here in WALL-E, and we know the humans are through the door in Monsters, Inc., and things like that. These are the people of this world, and they're going through issues, and they solve those issues by doing what they do in the movie. It's funny, because when I saw the trailers, it really hit home for me, because I lost my dad at a very young age. And, when you do, especially as you get older, you always fantasize what it would be like to talk to your dad years down the road and let him know what you did. That opened a whole well of emotions for me when I heard about that. So when I saw the movie, it was actually like, that's exactly how it would be. That's how it hit.
Wow.
I love the characters, and I love like, for example, the vehicles are so cool. The van is amazing. The van is just so cool.
Right.
The van is a character in the movie. And it's like, I think that's why the movie isn't progressing the same way. It does not feel like a Pixar film. It feels like a DreamWorks movie combined with a movie from, say, the mid to late 80s, early 90s that would have been live action at the time.
Right.
You know, where you're dealing with, this world with elves and this and that, and they're having issues. That's how it feels. It feels very mature, yet, in this weird world. And they pay so many homages to Dungeons and Dragons in this movie. It's just amazing. Gelatinous cube. That's all I'm going to say. Gelatinous cube. That's all you need to know about it. It is a really good... I highly recommend it. Please see it. I'm already looking at a Barley vest, because you see the vest he wears in the movie. It has all the patches.
Yeah.
You actually buy that. I want that vest.
Okay.
It's really cool.
It's interesting because we were at McDonald's not long ago, and their Happy Meal toy tie-in is Onward. But as I'm looking at it, I'm like, nothing in this movie screams toy tie-in, other than like my son got the van as a toy, and he got some wand with a jewel in the end. But I'm like, nothing in that of all the previews and commercials and all the stuff I've seen lends itself to toys. It's like getting a Shrek or something. Like, Shrek's a great movie, but it's just a story of sort of, it's, a character goes on a small quest, but it's not, sort of over the top Toy Story-ish, whatever. Right. It's a great movie, but there's not a lot of like, where would the toy tie-in be other than you get a Shrek and a donkey and a whatever. Like, that's what I feel about Onward.
It's funny you say quest, and the first thing that came to my head was Goonies. It has it halfway through the movie. You're watching Goonies,
right?
It's that good, and I think that's why this movie is. I don't know if it's underperforming per se. To them, it's a disappointment. I think it's the best film they ever made. In fact, my wife and I went and saw the movie last night. We both stared at each other and said, "This is the best Pixar movie ever." I mean, I'm going to say it right now. And hate mail, come on in. Toy Story 4. I think we've discussed this. Complete waste of time. Toy Story 4 was a cash grab.
I liked it.
All it was a cash grab.
I
mean, the only scene I loved in the movie was when they were in the pinball machine. Because it was so cool.
Right.
I mean, you were in a pinball machine. That was really cool. Other than that, I'm looking at it going, I didn't really need this. I mean, it was okay. Yeah. It's like Finding Dory in Monsters University. Did you really need that? No. Right. And I think that's another reason why the movie's not doing so good. It's not a tie-in or a sequel to anything else they've done in the last few years.
And everybody's looking for repeats.
That's what they're doing. And I think that's the problem Pixar has fallen into, with the exception of a couple of movies in the last couple of years, is everything. And even with those movies, they're magical and they're, like Inside Out and what is it, Coco? They have this, like Coco kind of separates itself because it's based on a culture.
Yeah.
So you kind of feel for that, and it's fun, but it's still fantastical. Mm-hmm. Whereas this, believe it or not, is really solid in reality. In the family dynamic, losing a father, it just really hits home with a lot of things that
more mature themes.
Right.
I really liked Inside Out.
I did too.
No, I liked it. I loved it, and it was probably one of the most original pictures they've done, other than this, in so long. It's just insane. Yeah. Like the next one's coming out, Soul, feels like Inside Out.
Yeah,
has a very Inside Out feel to me. So I'm like, it'll probably surprise me, but. Yeah, this was, like I said, we looked at each other and said, best movie they've ever done. Period.
Right, cool.
So,
I mean, we were already looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was too.
We're going to see it this week before they go.
Let me know what you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm an idiot or not.
Well, regardless of what I think of the movie.
Yeah. I know. Next movie, Invisible Man, this week brought in $15.15 million, bringing its total domestic to $53 million, worldwide to $98 million. Budget was $9 million, so this thing is killing it.
And I love the way they tied the story in with domestic violence and everything. That is just like...
It looks good,
insane, you know?
Yeah, it looks... I'll
and this is another
try
one
to catch it on something streaming.
Me too. I don't think I'm going to make it to the theater to see it.
No.
But this is another one, like when I first saw the initial few seconds of the trailer, I was like, All right, they're doing like Kevin Bacon Hollow Man, and then I'm like, oh no, they're not.
No, this is a cool take on that.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks really good.
Yep.
I'm enjoying this.
Speaking as we did of Sonic, Sonic's still in the top 5 with another $8 million this week. Now at $296 million worldwide on an $85 million budget.
Yep.
So nice return for a movie we all questioned, and now is in the running for best video game movie
Ever.
potentially ever.
I think, yeah. See, like I said, I wrote in there.
Yep.
Bracket to be drawn up soon.
Yep.
We will do another bracket on that one.
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
So I saw a list of TV shows that are either being canceled or are ending, and so I looked through the list for some of the more geek related. But good news, CW fans, all of the Arrowverse shows are being renewed. Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Batwoman. Obviously, Arrow, they've already announced, is coming to an end at the end of this season, which may already be over. One of the things that I realized as I typed up this list, I have no idea when anything is on anymore, like on actual television.
Oh, yeah, me either.
If it's on an actual network, I have no idea if it's, what part of the season we're in. Are we in that mid-season replacement time? I know we're getting close, because I know as you head into summer, seasons typically ended when you did, traditional television before streaming. This is when all the cliffhangers would start.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the Arrowverse shows are coming back. Santa Clarita Diet, which is a zombie adjacent show.
That was a great show.
On Netflix.
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't either.
I'm so disappointed.
It's canceled after the third season.
It was canceled after this?
Why
Okay.
the fuck did they end this now?
It's got Timothy Olyphant, who was in Justified.
Yeah. Yep.
And he was in Deadwood.
Yep.
He's a great actor who I really like.
Yep.
It's
got
Drew
Drew Barrymore.
And Drew Barrymore, who I
Who
really
I don't
like.
care what Eric says, she'd get an any day of the week.
Yeah.
Eric does not. He's like, he looked at the two of us like, he looked at me and Paul when we were like Drew Barrymore, and he was like he was personally offended.
Yeah.
We were like, dude, really? Did you pay attention to that scene in Charlie's Angels when she kind of did the little thing? Yeah.
And
he's
it's,
like, no.
Well, just YouTube the dance she did on David Letterman back.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, forget it.
He's just looking at us like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I said, well, maybe 10 more years. That's what's wrong with us.
And it's zombie, it's zombie-ish.
Yeah.
And so, it's a show that I wish I'm sure it'll stay on Netflix. They'll keep it, even though there's no new episodes.
We'll be able to
But see,
find
that's
it.
typical Netflix bullshit too. They'll always cancel a show before it's done.
Yeah.
Like 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Unless it's Orange is the New Black or whatever, they'll cancel it.
Yeah.
So.
Punisher obviously canceled along with all the other Marvel shows. Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, which is fine. Luke Cage, Daredevil. Legion, which is a X-Men sort of spin-off
Never
show
saw
on FX.
Very sad about that.
I saw one episode of
I
it.
have
It
not
looked
seen it
really
either.
good.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch it. Apparently, it was getting rave reviews.
Yeah.
Now, FX, they're not affiliated with Fox, though, right?
Yeah.
FX?
It's in the Fox
it's-
family.
It's in
Yeah.
the Fox family. But
So then why would they cancel it, though?
It's-
Didn't Disney...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
if
it's
Disney
all
bought
about
out
Disney
Fox...
Plus. It's all about Disney
Yeah.
Plus. So they're going to do everything over there.
Yeah.
And
Well, Disney Plus and Hulu, because they'll put more of the mature shit on Hulu.
Which is another reason I think that Netflix canceled all the Marvel stuff.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
once-
it is. It is.
Disney
You know,
started.
okay,
Disney
yeah,
said,
we're
"All
done.
right, wrap this up." Yeah.
And you're going to see more and more of that.
Travelers, which is a time travel.
Yes,
all
I
like,
love that.
like
It's
sliders.
canceled?
I
You
never saw
fuck.
that.
Yep.
Oh, it's amazing. It's got
The guy
what's
from
his
Will and
name?
Grace.
Will and Grace, yeah. Dylan McDermott. Is that? I think I got it.
Eric McCormick
Or that one, yeah.
or him.
Yeah,
Or him.
They can be brothers.
Sure,
It doesn't
it's
matter.
somebody.
Mix them all up together.
It's some dude.
Yeah.
But it's the guy from Will and Grace.
Yeah.
But he's not gay in this one. He's a time traveler.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
I'll have to watch it. Now, this canceled.
Ray's not mean just because he's not gay.
He's not gay. He's not
They
gay.
want
He's
the
a time traveler.
sponsors, Jesus
Not gay, he's a
Christ.
time traveler.
Not that time travelers can't be gay.
Right.
I think one of them is.
Not
but-
that there's anything wrong with that.
the sponsors went away again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there they go.
Man in the High Castle.
Took us almost an hour this time.
Man in the High Castle on Amazon is ending. I watched the first season and it's a great show, and somehow I just fell out of it.
Because there's so many shows.
Yeah.
You can't keep up anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Lucifer on Netflix is ending, and Daybreak, which is something I saw and wanted to watch. It's
a vampire thing.
Yeah, it's a young adult sort of.
It was really good.
Apocalyptic.
That first season was great.
Yeah, and they form factions, sort of like you would in high school, of like the jocks and the nerds.
It's all apocalypse.
Yeah, after the apocalypse.
And, yeah, it was really good.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
Damn, I'm gonna have to go try to catch up with some of these before they go away.
Yeah.
For you.
All right. Yeah, so there's that.
Yeah.
Then briefly, and I guess we can probably yell to Eric to help us get some of these pictures up on the website. We got our first look at the Batmobile for Batman 2021.
And you hardly see it. It's so dark.
Much like they released the footage of Pattinson in the bat suit, it was dark. You don't see.
Me on this. They really got to sell me on this.
The more they little kind of leak it out, the more I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot.
I'm just a Batman fan, so I'm gonna see it.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
but
I want to give it more. I'm giving it more of a shot than I would normally anything else.
Yeah,
I'll say that much, just because it's Batman and I want it to do good. But on the same note, I'm also just like, fuck, you had something with Affleck, and I know there was some worries there with the relapse that he had just had and whatever and all that shit. But it was also the studio fucked up with their movies and whatever. But I would have liked to have seen Affleck's version that he was going to direct, but I also would have wanted to see him as this younger Batman, not as a retired Batman.
Well, I think he can pull it off still.
Affleck? Oh yeah, he could. I've been saying that from day one.
I'll say this. I went back and watched the movie today, Batman v Superman. I hadn't watched it in probably.
Are you in a dark place? Are you okay?
No, I am. I'm in a really dark place. I had to say, the story that they gave his version of Batman is actually really good.
It is.
You see Wayne Manor destroyed.
Yeah.
You go out in these just weeded out fields where his parents' crypt is, and you're feeling for this guy. I mean, he's lost a lot, and then you have Jeremy Irons as Alfred.
For the brief amount of time he was in it, he killed it.
Yeah. Man, I want to see that movie. I don't want to, and maybe Pattinson, he knocks out of the park, but I really want to see that.
It's bittersweet because I wanted to see a younger version of Affleck's Batman.
Yeah.
And you'd have to go back to like Man of Steel and redo a whole bunch of shit for me to be happy with what they were doing.
And that was the problem with Superman is they turned it into the whole he's an alien from another planet, we don't trust him vibe as opposed to the good guy vibe that he had forever. And I think that's really what killed the whole thing.
And that was them trying to be away from what Marvel was doing with lighthearted joking. They wanted to be like, we're going to be dark and gritty and serious. That's not Superman, though, you asshole.
Well, but it's slightly more realistic in that you wouldn't necessarily. This guy comes from outer space with powers. You're not necessarily like, oh well, he's going to help me cross the street or get my cat out of the tree. You're like, oh shit, this is going to be a problem.
Well, now
that's how we would probably normally respond
if we knew who he was.
Now the first Man of Steel, though, if you took the first Man of Steel as is, right, that's okay. Everyone accepts the fact that this is him learning because he's not Superman, right? So he kills Zod because there's no other choice, right? But that's that goes against everything he believes. If they steamrolled into everything else, what they should have done was done a second Man of Steel, like a sequel to that, where maybe he goes up against Lex Luthor because Lex Luthor is after him for whatever, right? Put Lex Luthor in the Batman area. Like, who the hell is this guy? Because he hates Superman, right? Because he's an alien, blah, blah, blah. But have Henry Cavill's Superman now he becomes that bright blue Boy Scout, right? In that movie. You can set up a Batman individual movie, maybe one or two, and then have something that puts them at odds with each other and do your Batman versus Superman. That's what they should have done.
It's just not hard to look at the world we live in with the cable TV news we watch and see someone having a problem with, wait, there's a alien with superpowers? Wait, no. Well, that's not going to be okay.
In this society we live in with social media, it would be very, very
that's how it would go down.
I think that's why they went that direction.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll say the other thing is I saw the Ultimate Edition which I didn't realize was buried in my Blu-ray set. I had because they had the disc stuck together, and I'm like, oh wait a minute, I have the uncut version. This is great. So I went back and watched it. Of course, they go more into the boxes, the cubes. And
the mother boxes.
Yeah, the mother boxes and all that. And you watch Lex Luthor at the end after that, all that, and the guy actually pulls it off in the end. During the movie, he sucks.
He was
But
horrible.
at the end, with the director's cut, he was actually really good that last 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, the last 5 minutes.
And that was it,
yeah.
But then when he comes in, when Batman comes into that cell with that, what do you call it? The branding iron.
Yeah.
And he just punches the wall with it, and then all of a sudden everything goes black. That's Batman. That's why I said he nailed that role.
Yeah, well, Ben Affleck was made for that.
Yeah.
To me, he's made for Batman just as much as Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
Oh, absolutely.
But they fucked it away, and we're never going to have that, so it's depressing. But
hopefully,
let's see.
So
the car.
I like the way this looks.
Do you like the car as more of a car and less tank?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Absolutely. I agree with that. The whole tank thing.
I thought the Nolan, it was an interesting take. Like, oh, okay, his father was making military-grade weapons. And it was a nice explanation for why Batman got all his shit.
Right.
But now you're getting more back into the comic book. No, he's just crazy and making this shit himself. Yeah. And that's what you're going to get out of
year
this.
one. This is year one.
This is
year
year
two.
one.
Year two, something like that.
Yeah, it's like the end of year one, beginning of year two, kind of. Yeah, very early in his career. So you're going to meet a bunch of his rogues gallery because it looks like they're building it. Yeah. Like there's a bunch of people. They just hired. I saw an article, and we'll have to cut to that at some point. I'll find it and throw it on Facebook or something. But they hired these twins, and nobody knows who they're going to play, but there's these identical twin guys.
Yes.
Right, you saw that, right?
I saw a YouTube video, and he was rattling off like 3 or 4 different characters that they could play. Sets of characters.
Yeah, so...
Tweedledee, Tweedledum for...
Could you imagine if it was Tweedledee, Tweedledum, but they're in shape?
Yes.
They're not like these idiots.
Oh, absolutely. Which would make them a bigger threat.
Here's the thing, and I've said this before, like... If they don't space this out over a series of movies, like you had mentioned one time, like maybe we don't see all because they've named, I don't know, 6 or 7 now villains.
But that's DC's problem.
Yeah,
right.
If they don't, then you've got a movie with too many villains.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's going to.
Well, what I think they're doing is they're taking parts of what Affleck had written for his movie, where you were going to have Arkham Asylum. And you were going to see a handful of these guys. They're leading into the Long Halloween.
Right.
But I think it's going to be like a trilogy.
Right.
You're going to see some of these guys, but then they're going to get out.
Right.
And they're going to be out there, and he's going to stop them all, that kind of thing. You know, so
as long as we're not stopping them all.
I think you're going to get cameos, and you're going to get like 2 or 3 that he's got to beat up in this one, and then it's going to be the larger threat.
Right. Which
we can discuss in a separate thing because it's just the weekly. But what if at the very end of this thing, maybe not the Long Halloween exact, but what if at the very end of this you finally get this universe's Joker?
Which I think will happen because that leads into what I think is going on. This is Affleck's younger version of Batman.
Yeah, I think it absolutely is.
I think that's what they're going after is that Pattinson is going to be that young Batman that Affleck becomes.
Interesting.
I think that's what's going to happen.
That would be cool.
Absolutely.
That would be cool.
Absolutely. And the thing I loved about, again, going back to Affleck's Batman, but I loved how Alfred was his tech. Mm-hmm. I loved that he was the guy that was building everything. And I would love to see that continue. That maybe that's the reason why his stuff is so, like, just like slapdash together. Like, he took a muscle car and he threw stuff on it and everything. Because it was just the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, because it definitely looks cool. like a Dodge Challenger or Charger or something.
Yeah.
Somebody else said something else too.
Yeah.
Like he threw a rocket on it.
Yeah.
He
Which
threw
is
a twin rocket.
Great homage to the '60s.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Yeah.
Which is really what I dug about the car.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm interested.
So I'll watch it.
All right. Cool. We'll put a pin in Batman for now.
Absolutely.
All right. Next, I haven't even opened up the article on this. I just saw it and I threw it on here real quick. So if anybody else has any idea what the hell I'm talking about, The Last of Us apparently is getting an adaptation by HBO. And this is an amazing video game. Very, again, apocalyptic, zombie-esque kind of thing, whatever. And it's about a guy who's trying to protect this girl throughout this this world. And they look like they're getting ready to make this movie or a TV series.
Right.
It might be a series. I think it's a series by HBO. And what I saw, the last thing I saw right before we came to air was whatever the hell his name is, what's his nuts, from Game of Thrones, who plays Jaime, is going to play the lead.
Okay.
Which I love that actor, so I'm all for it. I forget they had a picture of him.
I love all what's his nuts.
I love all what's his nuts.
I was gonna
Not
say,
the first time you said
we're
that.
We're going to make a T-shirt. What's his nuts for you? I think that's a great line.
What's his nuts?
What's his nuts?
Oh, what's his nuts?
Oh, what's nuts?
That's just me. Oh, what's his nuts?
That's a great slogan.
There you go. Thank you.
I like it.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's what
Jaime.
What's his nuts 2020? Make it like a campaign.
Oh my gosh.
What's his nuts 2020?
I like it.
That's what I'm voting for.
Let's make it happen. So Jaime's going to play the lead, and then I saw the picture. It had him and whoever the girl, female actress was going to be to play the young girl, but I didn't. Like I said, I didn't have time to click on it to pay attention to it. But I just knew that it's coming out sometime soon, and I'm like, holy shit, it's going to be amazing. Because the game, like, that's all anyone ever talked about when it first came out. It was this epic game. So it was like the Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
The Red Dead Redemption for its time.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yep. All right. Then we got just a side note. We spoke briefly last week about the rumor about Marvel buying DC out. And apparently Jim Lee was at C2E2.
Yeah.
And he completely debunked it as nonsense.
The
like,
horse
no.
shit that came out?
Yeah, he's like, no. So we all kind of agreed.
Yeah.
We said we wait to see if anything else came out of it, and then we can kind of contemplate on what could happen. But we all knew it was bullshit.
Yeah.
So it's bullshit.
Yep.
All right. Ray, why don't you jump on this next one?
Okay, well, I saw an article briefly today about a Star Wars horror movie, which I think would actually pique my interest in the Star Wars universe again.
I think so.
Because there's a lot of dark in it. Like, there is a plague mentioned in one of the books about a plague that turns people into zombies in their universe.
Yeah,
things like that.
Death Trooper thing, whatever.
Yes, and I just think that this is a... if they could pull this off, it would be fantastic. But it will be... Well, it was a tweet that was deleted by director Scott Derrickson. He directed Doctor Strange, Sinister, and The Exorcism of Emily Rose. And he tweeted that he was asked what kind of Star Wars movie he'd like to make. And he would make it on Hoth, a frozen planet, horror story like The Thing or Lovecraft's Mountains of Madness.
Nice.
With zero connection to any characters or storylines. And that's the key. I've mentioned this before. We're done with the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
We need to move on. That's why The Mandalorian works, because it's outside of that wheelhouse. We need to investigate every facet, not just this one group of people through the whole thing. It's a horror movie.
It would be amazing.
This would be great.
Before we jumped into this, did either of you ever see the deleted scene with C-3PO on?
Yes, when he pulled the sign.
Yeah, all right. So they had because their base was in the ice, right? Yeah. There was one section of the base that Wampas were coming through, so they sealed the door and they put a sign up there no, don't open this fucking door. And as the stormtroopers are coming through, C-3PO walks his ass over, yanks the sign down, and walks away. So the next clip, the snowtroopers come through, open the door, and you just see a Wampa arm come out, and yank one of them in.
Right.
It's that's the hair, very like the freaking nut hair that this could become.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, because I fix games on Disney property, we have the Star Wars trilogy. There's actually a bonus round based on that one scene in Empire.
where the Wampas are. It's kind of like Doom, right?
Yes, you open up because it goes from a flying sim to a first-person shooter. And there's one scene where you're going through Hoth Base, and the door opens, and you can see that the sign's been ripped off. And you walk in, and they're all over the place. There's like 3 or 4 of them in there.
Nice.
And it takes like 20 shots to kill these things. Which, by the way, going back to this, the artwork that they teased was a Wampa off in the distance. Well, it wasn't that far away. It was right on top of them. And they're trying to kill this thing, and there's 3 or 4 of them in it, and they're blasting with lasers and stuff, and nothing. Yeah. It's not even being stunned, So I mean, that would be an amazing direction for them to take. You want to talk about saving this franchise? That's the way to do it. Start thinking outside the box.
Kind of take an MCU, and I know you're sick of MCU, right? But take an MCU, just a page out of their book where, if you look at their movies. Each movie is kind of a different genre of movie, right? You've got your heist movie, you got this, you got that. Start doing that with Star Wars. Like you've got Mandalorian is the Western. Yeah. High Republic that we talked about is going to be more of a Western feel. Do a horror movie. Do it. I would love to see them do Death Troopers and do a zombie. Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah. It's a big galaxy. Well, give us something cool.
If you based everything on a singular planet, and the harsh realities that planet has to live with.
Sure.
Right. I mean, it's...
Right, but what I'm saying is all these different movies you can do because it's a big galaxy. You have so many stories you can tell.
Absolutely.
Like you said, the Skywalker Saga is done. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever.
Rest in peace.
Cool. Let's see what's going to happen now.
Right.
But there's got to be... I think this is an amazing idea. I just don't see them making a movie out of this. But this is where streaming really works. Like this should be, they should greenlight this today to put on Disney Plus and get this started.
If it's a horror movie, they're going to put it on Plus. They'll put it on Hulu. Well, but you can do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
There's a platform for it.
And now I've never actually read that that's definitely what they're doing, where the adult shit's going to Hulu. That's what everyone's been saying.
Yeah.
And we just kind of ran with it too.
But then again, Mandalorian kind of crosses that line with
does.
War and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets pretty violent.
Yeah, it does. He chopped that one guy in half over the door. So.
Yeah. So you never know.
We'll see. Yeah, it depends on how you make it. But I mean, you can essentially make a Wampa werewolf movie.
But there's not very many genres of movies you couldn't make somewhere in the Star Wars universe. Like you can make a military unit, almost like a Saving Private Ryan kind of movie about some giant battle, right? Like take a different part of the Battle of Hoth and focus on one squadron of somebody and their backstories and what happens to them in the fighting and all the stuff that happens afterwards. Yeah. You can do some sort of special forces story on some other battle. You can make a heist movie. You can make buddy there's enough universe.
You could do a mini-series. Remember mini-series? I mean, that would be perfect. Yeah. Do like 3 or 4 episodes and cram it all in. Yeah. That's what people... I think people would be more apt for that than, half the stuff they've done other than Mandalorian.
All the epic shit,
just,
This would go back to... I think we spoke about it briefly, but I know I spoke to some other friends about it. There's a few recent... not so recent, but there's a few fan-made things that dropped on YouTube, and one was Troops. Do you remember that one? Or is this? You ever see that one?
No.
Oh my God, it's fucking hilarious. It's Stormtroopers, but the TV show Cops.
Oh, funny.
And it's literally that,
right?
And it's amazing. But then there's another one that somebody made and is well made, and it's called Star Wars Alone. Right?
Okay.
If Lucasfilm went to this guy and said, hey, we're going to give you a bunch of money to really make this a movie. He made this movie. It's about one stormtrooper, scout trooper, whatever, on Endor, isolated, after watching the Ewoks eat his friends. Because remember, don't forget.
Ewoks were carnivores.
They were. Really? Who knew?
I didn't know
They were going to cook Han, Luke, and Chewie.
Well, you can take that 2 ways, though. You can take them that they're hostage. I mean,
no, they were going to cook them. C-3PO said you ought to be the main course at a dinner in my honor.
Okay, I haven't watched Jedi.
Yeah,
they also play the drums of 2 stormtrooper helmets with bones.
Yeah, Chief Tripper's wearing bones.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is Star Wars Alone is all about this one trooper who's hearing someone talk to him to like, get here, get here. He doesn't know if it's a friend, a foe, whatever. But he's too busy running for his life because these fucking things are killing his friends.
Here's what I don't know if you can even do this based on copyright laws and stuff like that, but it would be amazing for Lucasfilms or Disney or somebody to put out on social media a contest that says, take the Star Wars universe. Here's a couple things you cannot do. You cannot give me any character that we already know the name of.
Right.
You have to put it in some situation that in the Star Wars universe.
You're going to give them a few boundaries and then
correct.
Here.
And then we'll make the best story.
We own it, and you get no money from it.
Correct.
There you go.
Or we'll cut you in for something. Like you'll get to be
you give them get $10,000.
Sure.
There you go.
Here's a popcorn bucket.
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah. They'll get something. They'll get something random.
You can make it a reality show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And take 10 wannabe screenwriters.
Lucasfilm, are you listening to this, man?
Yeah.
This is amazing.
You take 10 screenwriters and
we've got a name for this thing too.
And they're
that was already used.
Right,
and they're writing groups.
Whatever. Project Geeklight.
There you go.
And every week you have to come up with a story and you have to storyboard it, and the best one gets $50,000 and we'll make your movie and we'll show it on Disney Plus.
That would be amazing.
Oh,
yeah, look, you got an annual. You got
out of the woodwork for that.
You got a year's salary,
and you'd get better content than you're probably getting from
the yes men that are hanging out in years.
Absolutely,
you get a better movie than Ryan Johnson.
Then Dinosaurs Attack.
You get a better movie than Ryan Johnson made.
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that in my sleep.
I think we all.
I have.
And you'd get people that not just care but love this universe and want to see it done right, and so their story would probably be amazing.
I think it would. I think you're right. That's an amazing idea. Fuck. Are you listening, Disney?
Of course they are. They're taking notes and they're going to steal your thing.
Yeah,
you're
whatever.
Not going to see a dime for it.
It's okay as long as I can see a good fucking movie out of it. That's fine too. All right. So yes, definitely a Star Wars horror movie. I'm all for it. Absolutely. I'm all for many Star Wars movies. Paul.
All right.
What else do we have?
Unless you are
We've been kind of alluding to this.
Unless you are living under a rock at the bottom of the ocean, you know that there's a virus going around. It's called chlamydia. No, it's
syphilis.
Yeah.
It all started with a simple kiss.
Too, think,
the coronavirus is going around, and we can talk about this in a second. I don't feel like there's a need to panic, but it is starting to concern a bunch of people. The stock market got crushed today. It was down 2,000 points before they suspended trading.
I think the biggest concern with this thing is, and like you said, we can talk about it more, but is people with any kind of compromised immune system.
Yes.
Yeah. But outside of that,
it is spreading.
Does everybody know what the coronavirus is?
Yeah.
It's a cold.
Yeah.
Well, it's a flu that gets in your lungs.
Right. But coronavirus is a cold.
Right.
Remember SARS?
Yeah.
Remember MARS?
Yep.
Those are all coronavirus.
Yeah.
They gave them a special name.
Yeah.
They didn't give this one a special name.
CV-19 or something.
Yeah.
COVID-19.
Yeah, COVID.
COVID-19.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's awful close to Kobe. Be careful.
Is the disease you get if infected by this sort of coronavirus. The problem is, I think that there's media reports and others are getting people panicked. I was at a Target yesterday. The store shelves, I shit you not. Look at this. This is not a great video medium, obviously, but I'm going to show these guys.
Yeah, this works way better
I'm going to show these guys
audio-only podcast.
The pictures of empty shelves. This is Target in Boca Raton, Florida.
Shut the fuck up.
This is the section. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelves of this section of Target. This is where
nothing.
This is where the hand sanitizer and cleansing wipes are supposed to be.
And nothing is there.
And so people are freaking out. Anyway, it's starting to impact sort of our world in geek stuff and movies. And first, No Time to Die was supposed to come out on Friday.
Yep.
And
we're delaying things.
And they pushed it back because health officials are saying don't go into big crowds. You know, if you are compromised or
unless you go to Disney, they put out extra hand sanitizer
or immunosuppressed or something like that. The parks are still doing fine. People travel. Look, I'm one off from being a travel agent, so get on a plane and go somewhere. Do it for my children, so they can eat. But No Time to Die was supposed to come out this weekend. They pushed it back to November. The Emerald City
You know how much
Comic-Con-
they lost on that, right? $30 million.
Is that right?
Yeah. Now
By pushing
it's
it back?
James, yeah. But now it's James Bond, so they'll make it. They'll recoup it.
But yeah, now going to come out in November. There are many cases in Seattle, and the Emerald City Comic-Con, which is in Seattle, was postponed, which should have been this week, pushed back to the summer. We talked a lot about the XFL. There was a concession worker at the Seattle Dragons XFL Stadium that tested positive for coronavirus.
Yay.
And
yeah,
so
it's hanging around California. We got a few down here in Florida.
Not long after reading some of these stories, there were a bunch of Facebook ads about MegaCon here in Orlando, which is in April.
Yeah.
And so now the question is, do you think MegaCon will be rescheduled? Will you go to MegaCon if things stay the way they are? And do you think the biggest question, which will determine whether or not MegaCon goes forward, are celebrities going to come?
That's a good question.
I think that's the number one problem. I think celebrities will cancel.
Yep.
Especially since most of them come from the West Coast.
Yep. There he is.
Hang
on. Noah's knocking over microphones with his new lemur. Yeah, so Noah went to the fair yesterday with his sister, and they won like 15 damn stuffed animals. This is one of them.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he did pretty good. Apparently, he's like an ace at the games right now. So, yep. All right, you ready? All ready for bed? Look, Mom blow-dried your hair. It looks all cool.
I brushed it.
Oh, you brushed it?
Wow.
Good job.
Very 80s.
Yeah. You want to come say goodnight?
Night-night.
All right, night-night. Love you.
Love you.
See you later, pal. All right, now that's our cue to tone it down.
Okay.
So, I think you're right. I think
just lean in and
I think as celebrities
do the ASMR where you just kind of talk with you.
Okay. I think as celebrities decide that they're not coming, is what's ultimately going to get this thing pulled.
I think you're right.
Key.
Yeah.
Because these people, all these celebrities mostly come from the West Coast, so that's where the virus seems to be. Or at least a lot of it started when it came over. I think a lot of them will cancel, and I think that in turn will say, "Well, revenue is going to be down. We're going to close this thing."
Yeah.
It's hard to say now because you can go on to the there was a website, and I can't remember the name of it now. I'll have to look it up. Maybe I'll post it on the site. Through the CDC, and basically they have a countrywide, well, they have a worldwide map. They've broken it down to just the U.S., and they're showing where the virus has sprung up.
Yeah.
And so I think it'll all come down to who's not going to show up. That's all it's going to be. Like I kind of joked about, Disney's not shutting down. In fact, they just announced today that Shanghai is reopening as of tomorrow, I think.
Well, so because the thing is not killing as many people as the media is making it seem.
Correct.
Because they made it seem like it's Stephen King's The Stand.
Many more people die. 12,000 to 16,000, maybe it's more.
Right.
People die of the flu every year.
Right.
Yeah. And this worldwide, we're at a death count of like nowhere near that.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've already, I don't want to say cured, but I saw an article where they administered a vaccine in China and were able to sustain somebody with the vaccine. So, and we already know that it doesn't affect small children, strong immune systems.
Right.
The elderly and people with weak immune systems are the ones privy to this.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be, and I could be way off on this, but I just don't think it's going to be as big a deal as everybody's making it out to be.
No, it's not.
I think 6 months from now we'll look back and go, what were we so afraid of? I hope.
Well, it was like Zika and everything else.
Yeah.
Once they isolate it, once they have something to combat it, because like they said, there's no cure, but if they have something that can help combat it, then they will find a way to subside this virus.
Coronavirus.
I just think it's hilarious that Corona sales are completely down because of it, which I think is a joke.
As a beer drinker, I have faith in Florida Man. Because Florida Man, like I said, we've got a concentration of stupid people down here.
Absolutely.
And I was convinced that these guys are going to drive Corona sales down so much that stores, at least individual stores, will start putting it on sale. and I'm going to roll into some place and get like Corona for like $5 for a case.
Yeah.
I don't even drink the shit, but I'll drink it then.
Of course you
Yeah, it's not bad.
No.
I won't turn it down.
Absolutely.
You know, but yeah,
Absolutely.
I guarantee by next week, if they haven't like jumped over the other side of this thing,
Right.
it's going on sale.
Now, on the downside of it, I saw an article today that a worker at Disneyland Paris tested positive for coronavirus.
Right.
So that's it's in a
popping around.
park. So
Yeah.
that's where things
it's
tend to
gonna
Here
go.
it's-
gets dicey, and especially since they already said in I think France and Great Britain that they don't want large groups of people over 50. I think is what was notified.
Yeah.
Right, then they'll want them
to try
shutting
to-
down the park,
right,
and
right.
then
Well, and that's what ended up happening with Shanghai and Hong Kong. They shut it down. I think Japan went down for a short time. They went back up, but now it's in Disneyland Paris. So that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I think people are afraid just hearing about a virus out there, and so they're
Sure.
sort of freaked out. There are 2 cruise ships. They may have docked by now, but there was one off the coast of California just doing loops because they couldn't test.
Yeah.
One of the people needed a test. There was one in Florida that is off the coast. My family and I are actually booked on that ship, the one off the coast of Florida they had to test 2 crew members, and they wouldn't let the ship dock until they could test them. I think they tested negative, but we are literally booked on that ship in a month, and my family this weekend was like, "Are we going to go?"
there was an
well, I will
article
tell you
today.
that Heather got discounted rates on stuff she'd already booked.
Oh, yeah.
They dropped her rates down, and it's okay. Yeah, we'll spread the money.
Well,
Yeah,
they've told us that we can rebook. We'll get 100%.
Yes, you can
100%
rebook everything,
transfer
yes.
it, and as long as we go on the cruise before December of 2021,
Right.
we're totally good. So
My wife works for the travel company. She was telling me that today that they were allowing people to reschedule as long as it was within that time frame, and that it'll be completely covered.
Yeah.
It's
but the
just-
vice president of the United States is telling people don't go on a cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
okay,
they,
well,
yeah.
you know.
They said there was a thing today where they were saying absolutely don't go on cruises and all this other stuff.
And the good news is, since we're not probably going on the cruise, I can go to MegaCon because
we're going to MegaCon
the
if they show up.
if they show up. But so celebrities right now, Ralph Macchio from the Karate Kid and the guy who played the head of Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah.
Are supposed to be there.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah.
Homelander, A-Train, and Butcher from The Boys.
Oh shit. Hell yeah.
Johnny from Karate Kid.
Yeah, we're going.
And then a bunch of kids from It.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're going.
Oh, Dave Bautista,
Fucking A, we're going.
Stephen Amell of Arrow, Catherine McNamara from Arrow,
Yep, I'm going.
Adam Savage, William Shatner, Alicia Silverstone,
Holy shit.
The Hobbits.
Send me that link. But yeah, we're
I'm
we're
not
going.
interested in Spooky Empire. No offense, but
I know.
the
when is it?
entire cast. I think it's in May. The entire cast.
I'll go with you.
Oh my god!
You send me that link too, and
Yeah,
I'll go with you to that.
I'm gonna put. They announced a bunch of people this
But
week, and I'm like,
sticking to
absolutely.
coronavirus, okay, just so we can try to stay on topic because we're yeah, wow,
Or way
hour and a half.
Yeah.
Coronavirus. 2 theories, random. 1 vaguely political, so okay, we don't do that too often here. But 1, do you think maybe, even if we beat this coronavirus, right, in another year or so, something else might pop up because maybe Mother Nature
100%.
is trying to like thin the herd a little bit. Which, as a fan of entropy, I'm all for it.
So it would not surprise me. And this is, I'm going to sound conspiratorial, and I'm going to put my little tinfoil hat on. It would not surprise me if someday we find out, years from now, that this was some sort of biological weapon, or we're testing something that got out of control.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that wouldn't surprise me.
No.
And that kind of leads into my second theory is something like this always seems to come about right around election time. Every 4 fucking years. Maybe not this, but it's always this, a war, whatever. But some
it's always something.
big epidemic comes out every 4 fucking
8 years ago was the economy.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with these
12
these
years ago.
viruses. They always come from areas of dense population where they're affected by animals that carry something that our bodies are not immune to.
And by affected, it means somebody ate it or effed it.
Right.
Stop eating a bat, okay?
Somebody-
'Cause that's what happened here.
Somebody
It's
ate it.
bats.
They
Somebody
ate a bat.
ate it. Somebody ate it or
fucked
fucked
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave the rodents alone, okay?
Yes,
Just,
they ate a
you
bat.
know, don't be Florida man and fuck a squirrel, okay?
Right.
Just don't. Okay.
Oh, it's funny because we had this conversation at work, and then I was like,
Yeah,
"Yo,
but
this
they're so
reminds me
cute."
of-
Yes,
they're
those
adorable.
Big bushy tails, right? Oh my god.
God, it's inviting, especially for an Irishman. You know, it's just,
Oh, what's his nuts?
oh, what's
What's
his
his
nuts? He's carrying it.
Watch his nuts.
Hoarding his nuts.
That's right.
What's his nuts? 2020. We're gonna have to come out with a series of T-shirts from dumb shit we say on the
Yeah,
show, and
absolutely.
that's what we're gonna sell. That's what we want to sell.
That's exactly right.
We can do that on Cafe Press, and only people. We don't have to put money up. Like
No.
Oh, yeah.
only if you buy it. Yeah,
Yeah.
only if you buy it.
Okay, nice. Yeah,
T
we'll,
Fury,
yeah.
I think, does that as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
So at work, we were talking about, and it just popped in my head. Either one of you guys ever play Plague Incorporated? Or it's like a mobile game.
No.
I'll have to show it to you after we get done here. But it's essentially, it's a map of the world, and it's got all kinds of different random viruses or whatever that you pick. And it's, even one's got like a necrovirus, so you can make zombies and shit, right?
Okay.
But essentially, you pick a virus, you pick where you're going to start in the world, and then you evolve the virus to try to spread it throughout the whole world, right?
Okay.
And I always start in China. And I went, holy shit, this is just this video game come to life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That's
yeah.
exactly what it is.
Well-
I mean, there was a movie a couple of years ago with, oh, God, I can't remember who was in it.
Outbreak,
But
somebody fucked a monkey. No, I'm
No,
kidding.
exactly, no. I cannot remember. I saw it a few years ago. It was with, I can't think of her name now. God. But anyway, it was about a pandemic. And it
Yeah.
basically, there was a woman who was in China, and she got with a guy, and halfway home, all of a sudden she feels sick and got off the plane, and she was dead.
Yes,
And
yes,
then
yes, yes,
it
yes.
spread all over the world. And, I mean...
Is that the one with Gwyneth Paltrow?
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yes.
That was it.
Yes, because random trivia that I know,
Yeah.
they when they do the autopsy scene,
Yes.
right? Her head, when you see
Yes.
it, it's from the movie Seven.
Right.
It's
Yep.
the same.
Is that
It's the
right?
same
Yep.
mold.
Yeah, because you never really see it in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the director of that movie, I forget what it is, Outbreak or whatever the fuck it
Yeah.
is, but he's like, I have an idea.
And they,
Yeah.
they
And
were
they-
able to
they-
cut her open.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was nasty.
It looked- it looked real.
It looked
Yeah.
real.
Well, and I think a lot of people think coronavirus is you're gonna end up with Ebola, like it's gonna liquefy your insides.
Yeah.
No.
And most people, from what I've read, most people are gonna get it and not even know they have it.
And that's what's happened already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say people have carried it already, and
Yeah, there's going to be plenty of sleeper, just carriers, not like.
but that's what happens in nature.
Everything,
It
yeah.
just happens.
Goes back to I think nature's trying to thin the
Now
herd a little
does
bit.
that and I really don't want to come down to Disney. Does that make them, keeping everything open the way it is and just saying, come on down?
Yeah, kind of makes
that
them.
could potentially make things a lot worse, especially for here. Because the amount of people
Look, they
we
can
see
up their-
every year-
They can up their hand sanitizer, but you know what
Yeah.
happens with hand sanitizer, right?
Yeah.
After a while, because a lot of people buying all this shit all the time.
Yeah.
You use hand sanitizer all the time, constantly.
Yeah.
Dries out your skin and cracks it.
Yeah. and
Oh,
that's- yeah.
how does infection get into your hands?
Yeah, yeah, it's all
Duh.
correct.
See, there you go,
There
stupid.
was a meme
See,
today.
like I said, stupid people.
There was a meme today where the doctor says to the guy, "I'm sorry to tell you, but you have coronavirus." He says, "How can that happen? I have all the toilet paper and sanitizer."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Wash your hands, people. Like
That's all it is.
people
Like
are
normal
like,
people.
oh, I'm supposed to wash my hands?
And cough like this, please.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you can wash your hands when there's not an
Although,
epidemic. That's another one.
It is sort of comical to watch. There's been a couple things on the news that have been great. There was a press conference in California somewhere, and the woman was trying to tell people not to touch their face because one of the ways that it spreads is like, your nose, your eyes,
Yeah.
your mouth,
Yeah.
like those places. And as she's having the conversation, she licks her fingers to turn the page. While at the microphone telling people to stop touch your face, she licks her fingers and turns the page.
That's amazing.
Oh,
That's
God.
awesome.
And then, because my parents watch MSNBC had this California, and I'm just sorry to get political, but they had this California congresswoman who's a Democrat, and she was criticizing the president about he won't even cancel his rallies, and he wants to put the safety of his his supporters over health and safety, and that's terrible. And I'm calling on the president to cancel all his rallies. And the host goes, "Thank you, Congressman. Now we go live to a Bernie Sanders rally in such and such as Jesse Jackson takes the stage." And they go to a Bernie Sanders rally. I'm like, holy shit, that just really just happened.
Yeah. They're all out of their minds.
And they're like, you just criticized him for not caring? And then let's go live to a rally.
Right. All right. Well, look. Tell you what, we'll end the coronavirus for now.
Yes.
Well, we won't, but somebody will. Yes. We'll end that topic. We'll jump on to something else. We're going to end it with a dad joke because, well, that's us. All right. What goes good with coronavirus?
What?
Lyme disease.
Lyme disease.
No, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to.
Oh, sorry. Elbow bump. Yeah.
Elbow bump.
Right. Hold on. Now I'm going to suck my fingers.
Yes, you are. I've heard that about you.
Oh, my God.
All right. Ray, floor is yours. GameStop.
Okay, yeah. It looks like somebody has been appointed to the board of directors. The previous CEO of Nintendo, and I'm going to mess his name up because I always do, Reggie Fils M.A., I don't even know how to say his last name. But he was the CEO of Nintendo for many, many years in the U.S. And all of a sudden, he's now going to be helping out with GameStop, which I think is a pretty amazing idea. But I don't know if it's too little too late because...
Isn't GameStop borderline bankrupt?
Yeah, you know what's funny, and I say this all the time, but I believe it's true. You remember back in the mid to late 2000s when... Blockbuster kind of fell apart. Mm-hmm. And you remember when they, towards the middle of the 2000, 2005, 2006, they put in all the tchotchkes, and it became like a yard sale.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just videos anymore. It was paintings and this and that. And when they acquired ThinkGeek, and all of a sudden GameStops were filled with tchotchkes, I said, "Yep, this is another Blockbuster."
Yep.
They're just going to go out of business.
Now there's Funkos and there's Pops
Funkos and all that crap in there. And that's the problem. And I've said it before. I worked for GameStop for about 2 years. I was a manager. The biggest problem GameStop has is they'll take just about anything, even if it's broken or not, and then just resell it. So their quality control is nil. They don't particularly take care of their employees very well because I remember not getting paid very well as a manager there. And that was early 2000s too, so they were rocking it. They were doing the used DVDs and the whole shebang. Now it's a joke walking into GameStop. In fact, I was up in Claremont. I went to the Super Target up there, and I didn't realize there was a GameStop right next to that, and it's going out of business.
Yeah.
Literally, everything was like 10 to 50% off, depending on what the product was.
Yeah. And
I don't think I've ever seen a GameStop go out of business. And I told my wife when I got home, I said, "There's a GameStop going out of business." And then I see this today, and I'm thinking, wow, they could, potentially maybe turn it around. Maybe they come up with a better battle plan, because it's not to say that these used game outlets are dead. The mom and pops are still around. I mean, there's one up in Altamont that's really good, Hudson's.
Oh, I love that place.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
Hudson's is great.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so they're out there. They're fewer and far between.
There's one in Seminole Town Center, and there's one in Altamont. Yeah.
But they're really good. Cybertron is another one that he works out of the flea market.
Side note for stores that we need to go hit up before you got here. He knows the owners of Crumbs comic book.
Oh, is that right?
They're good friends of mine.
Oh,
yeah. We'll have to go up there.
They're building a game they got a game. It's Alien vs. Predator, the Capcom version, of Alien vs. Predator, and I'm restoring it for them. So yeah, that'll be up there, Crumbs. But that's, to me, that's really interesting that they are so far down. I mean, they're circling the drain. All of a sudden, they announced this today, and I'm thinking they could really pull a hat trick here, because that would be pretty cool if they could bounce back. But their issue is because they're such a large company, they don't deal with used games the same way as a mom and pop does. They rely on new game releases constantly. And the problem is every system now has downloads. Like, correct. I can't tell you the last game I bought in a box. I just don't, because I would rather just Like, I have the Switch, I just download the game, and it's there. I don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
You know? So, to me, I don't know that this is going to help, but it could, given, you know, the way he handled Nintendo of America. I mean, he knows the industry. That's obvious. So, I mean, he could potentially bring this back. And if they were smart, you know, in the way they do it.
Is he on the board, or is he an officer of the company?
He's going to be a board of directors.
Okay.
So, you know, he will have some say. He'll have some pull. And I think he could potentially help them get out of their dilemma. Because I was just telling him, there was one up there in Claremont next to the Target. It's going out of business.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not know that. I didn't even know
we
it
got
was
the
there.
we got the one right here next to Target.
Is it going out of business too?
Oh, no, I think they're still doing okay.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I think places like
I
Hudson's
love
are
GameStop.
smart. See, I used to love GameStop. Then I worked for them. Then I hated them. And do you remember back in the early 2000s when everything had 30 fucking stickers on them?
Yeah.
Like they would put stickers all over you're like, I want to keep the case, but now I have to use Goo Gone to get the stupid stickers off the damn thing.
Right.
I hated that crap.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest issue is when there's not a new system available, they're at a loss. Mm-hmm. They take such a loss because there's nothing new. I mean, and like I said, you could download the game for the same price. Okay, it has a virtual manual. Who gives a crap?
Right.
You know, as long as I got enough storage on my machine, I'd rather do that because I can play it right now. I don't ever have to worry about it. Like I said, I can't remember the last game. It must have been over a year ago since I bought anything at GameStop.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and it's sad, but you know they've gone Tchotchke City.
Yep.
And you walk in and before you see any games at this GameStop in particular, right here in Winter Garden, what's the first thing you see when you walk in? Pop vinyls and T-shirts.
Spoiler alert! Now you know where we live.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's all good. Whatever. It's all right.
Yeah, we're in Central Florida. Anyway,
they'll get shot.
Yeah, I didn't give an address. It's okay.
It's a big town.
We're in a
and it's growing
basement. Yeah. We're in a basement in Central Florida. So yes,
find that fucker.
So I think they could pull it, but they would have to focus more on used stuff, more so than they do now.
Yeah.
That's what keeps these mom and pops open. Like when I go to Hudson's, the first thing I look, because I'm big into Skylanders. I go in there and they have a gigantic big bin of figures. I can go through that thing and end up with half a dozen at $2.99 a piece. You know,
but Hudson's also has like DS games and Game Boy games.
They go back to Atari 2600, ColecoVision. They do everything.
They got it all.
But see, that's what GameStop has to do. If they and I even said that back in the time when I worked there, because I remember at one point somebody had brought in a Atari Jaguar. This was 2000. Okay. They brought in Atari Jaguar from 93, okay? And most people, if they don't know, that was the last system Atari actually put out. It didn't do well at all, and for good reason. They had terrible software on it. But it was a good system. So the guy brought it in for a trade, and we couldn't take it because it was not on our list. So I actually had to go outside and buy it from him because I wasn't going to let him walk away. I said, hey, I'll give you $40 for it. Here you go. Bang. So I ended up taking it home, and it's still in my collection. But that's the problem GameStop has is there's a... I know. I get me.
Yeah, I know. I do too.
Yeah, but...
I'm giving him hand signals to lower so Noah doesn't scream.
I'm from New York. We're used to when we get uppity, it just the level goes up, and you don't even notice. My wife says the same thing to me. We'll be walking the dog. She'll be, will you please quiet down? Quiet down. It's 11 o'clock at night. People don't need to hear you scream. And I don't realize I'm screaming. I have no idea. Yeah. But I think if GameStop was smart, they would take in everything. Like if you came in with your Odyssey 2 from 1978.
Yeah.
They would give you something for it. That's
somebody will take it.
Yes, absolutely. Or like what Crumbs World does. They do Magic the Gathering and D&D sessions and things like that. That's what makes these places popular because they are a part of the community.
I saw an article on what they were re-envisioning GameStop to be, and there was where they had like a TV, right, and a couple of couches to let people play games, right, maybe sample games there. But if they do something like you said, Magic the Gathering, drop an old
tournaments,
drop an old system in there,
right,
and have tournaments. Let people go nuts.
That's what Hudson's does. That they go in there and they have benches. You can sit down.
Yeah.
They'll give you a Super Nintendo cartridge, slap it in, try it out before you take it home. That's what
I'll
sells.
check it out.
There was another company that did Blue something, Blue Gorilla, Blue whatever. They were around like 10 years ago.
There's also too many GameStops with not enough.
Yeah.
There's not enough
Inventory.
used game inventory and people looking for used games to have a GameStop in virtually every strip mall.
There's
around. There's 3 Hudson's locations, so they can
they spread it out,
right?
Spread the wealth.
They only
GameStop
have
is like every 15 feet. It's like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm like they closing it. I didn't even know it was there.
There was a Starbucks in Millennia, and this may still be the case. I haven't been to Mall at Millennia in forever. You could stand in the Starbucks on the second floor and look down into the Starbucks on the first floor. And that's why your per store sales are down, because you're in a Starbucks looking at another Starbucks.
That's actually a Lewis Black joke. He saw one of those in Texas.
Yeah.
He goes, you walk out the Starbucks and right across the street, holy fuck, there's another Starbucks. He says, it took me a little while, but I figured out who this is for. People with Alzheimer's. Yeah. They get done with their coffee, they walk outside and they go, holy shit, time for a cup of coffee.
That works. Oh, man.
And when he said Alzheimer's, everybody went, oh. No. And he went, no, don't oh. Yeah. It's the only way this joke works.
Right.
It was amazing. I love Lewis Black.
I do.
All right.
Yeah, I do too.
But anyway, I don't know if he can pull this out. I really don't know. Coming from his end of it, I don't know. I mean, because he's used to selling a product to GameStop, but he doesn't know the inner workings of GameStop. So it'll be interesting to see the next couple months what he's able to come up with. And maybe, like I said, it may save them, it may not. But, just interesting news. I saw it today.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right, we'll check it out.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. That'd be a good way to end it.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up our Geekly Weekly here. That was the last one of that, right?
That was it. Yeah.
All right. So you guys let us know what you think. The trailers that we talked about and your fears of the coronavirus. Sorry, I'm going to make fun of you. But go ahead. Tell me your fears. Let us know what you think of an R-rated Star Wars movie. I'm excited about that. That'd be cool.
I think that would be great.
And just hit us up at whatifgeeks.com, whatifgeeks@gmail.com, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Absolutely.
Check out Ray at the Arcade Archives.
Yep.
And let us know what you guys are thinking about.
Absolutely.
We'll catch you later.
All right.
Good night, Tony.
Good night, Eric.
And keep your balls in with your animals. Don't play with your balls.
Thanks, Ray.